Hey everyone, David here. It's been a while. I am alive, believe it or not, and I'm doing pretty good. I haven't posted anything anywhere for a couple years now, and it's honestly been pretty quiet and nice. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately and wondering what I want my life to look like. If you didn't know, I made a game, which did pretty well. Then I made a YouTube channel, which did pretty well. And I got a lot of attention. And then I just fell apart. I needed time to get away, disconnect, and understand what was going on in my head, which was intense burnout and a feeling of being lost. In this video, I wanted to talk a bit about my life the past couple years, and maybe a bit about where I'm going. I also have a big bombshell to drop at the end. I hope you enjoy the video. So, to set some context, I'm a pretty introverted person. I'm not an A-type personality who wants to argue or lead people. In fact, I'm a textbook people pleaser. I deal with a lot of self-doubt, even in the face of success, which is also called impostor syndrome. I remember giving away flyers for my game at PAX and telling people, yeah, you might not like it, you can just throw it away if you want. And my brothers who were there with me would look on horrified and confused. They would tell me, tell people you're gonna love the game, you idiot. And I just couldn't say those things. Probably because I didn't really believe it myself. I was just a guy who wanted to tell stories and games as a hobby, but I was now a businessman, a salesman, a marketer, an influencer, even like a symbol for the indie game dream. It started to feel really weird when people would recognize me and stop me in public. And remember, I'm that shy game developer with self-loathing issues. So to be honest, to have a stranger come up to you and say they love your work, it's quite the experience. This is it, you think. My work is being validated. Maybe I won't feel like an imposter anymore. But then you get home and you still feel that same self-doubt. You feel like you tricked everyone into thinking you're good at making games. You're still reading all the hate mail in your head. The mini celebrity encounter doesn't fix you. It doesn't fill the void. There's fans. Now, when you combine that self-doubt with an ambitious drive to work and to prove yourself, to prove that you're worthy of love and adoration, it can lead to an unhealthy way of thinking. The irony is that this is what you wanted all along. You wanted to inspire and to share your work with as many people as possible. But with that said, what I didn't expect for me was the sheer volume of people reaching out. So many people who were lost and confused and wanted someone to tell them it was going to be all right, and that maybe I could lend some help because that's what good people do. That's what I kept telling myself. I got a lot of emails. I got emails from suicidal teenagers. I got emails from children in war-torn countries whose cities had just been bombed. I got a specific email from a 12-year-old trying to flee Afghanistan who had just seen his father collapse in tears in their house. And this child wanted someone who he knew was a good person to save him. So he thought of me and he asked for my help. So many people were begging me for help, and I felt like I needed to help them all because that was the right thing to do. Now, let's combine that with the stresses of trying to be a good father and a good husband in a global pandemic. I'm trying to help my neighbors by locking down. And for the parents out there, you know the challenges that come with entertaining 2 toddlers and a baby inside the house all day. In my family, I'm also the breadwinner, so now that I was a full-time indie dev, it was solely up to me to provide my family for food, shelter, and medical care. So I diversified my revenue and made this YouTube channel and an online course, Game Dev Unlocked. I thought it would be the perfect way to help people and support my family simultaneously. And I loved making videos and teaching. I thought it was the perfect plan. And I was right to an extent. I had never worked harder on something in my life than on GDU. This is where the burnout starts to take hold. I force myself to keep going, even though I'm so exhausted. Admittedly, sometimes it's fear about money, or fear about being judged as a bad person, or fear that my professional legacy will be that of a one-hit wonder. So I get to work. I wear a million hats and do a million different jobs, because while the first tree did well financially, it wasn't enough to retire or even hire a team. It gave us a runway of a few years, and that's it. If I had made Lethal Company level of money from my game, then this story would be a lot different. I'm really proud of Game Dev Unlocked. It's easy to only focus on the financial success stories like Brotato and Fireworks Mania from fellow GDU students, but we had hundreds of people make their first ever games and release them. They got to watch streamers play their first games, which is honestly one of my favorite memories when I released my first game. I also had a lot of students who demanded a lot from me, but they were paying customers. I thought for the price I charged, you got a lot of high quality content, frameworks, and personal consultations, but that didn't change the fact that people still hated me for shilling a course. They would call me greedy and send me hate mail just because I had the gall to ask to be compensated for my time. People would make fun of my voice in live streams. They would pop in the chat just to say, "Wow, only 100 viewers now? You're such a joke," and then leave. And this is after I tried to help as many people as possible. I literally answered every single email that came into my inbox, and we're talking thousands and thousands of messages. I never tried to be slimy and sell GDU to people in a gross way. I just wanted to help because I deeply cared for everyone, and I wanted to see them succeed, and I cared about my family who I needed to provide for and pay the bills. My experience with GDU could be a video all by itself, but I'll summarize it like this. I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of my students, but it didn't stop the hate mail, it didn't stop the negative voices inside my brain, and it didn't solve my money problems. I was still making less than my old salary as a technical artist, and my money from the first tree was running out fast. Eventually, a toxic mindset lodged itself in my head. If I made a lot of money, my problems would be over, and I would enjoy making games and videos again. By the end of all this, I really felt like I was setting myself on fire to keep everyone warm, and people barely even responded with a thank you. After our basement pipes broke and flooded our whole basement, we decided to move out to repair the guts of our house and renovate some things as well. And it was at this point that I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't read one more email, I couldn't make one more video. If I opened Unity, it made me literally nauseous. I remember sitting down to work, trying to open my mouth to record a video, and I literally couldn't. It shocked and scared me, honestly. I had never had this feeling before, and I'd been making stuff for as long as I could remember. I had always pushed through no matter how difficult things were, but I had finally reached my limit. The guilt of feeling this horrible when it was my dream job didn't help either. I felt like something was fundamentally broken inside my brain. I now hated all the things that used to bring me so much joy, and it led to a deep depression. I got professional help at this point, and I left the internet behind. I still feel a bit guilty about disconnecting when so many people needed my help, but it was necessary. The quiet times that followed were really nice. We had enough in savings for me to take a few months off, which I know makes me really lucky. I spent time with my kids and wife. I did a lot of hiking. I spent time with my good friend Matt. I didn't really make anything, which was unusual for me, but I just didn't want to anymore, which made me feel like a part of me had died. But it was really what my soul was asking for at the time. I just wanted to exist, to be present, not always worrying about my next hit game or always worrying why my last video flopped. I didn't even want to play games, which was weird for me too. It wasn't until Elden Ring came out that I decided to give it a shot, and it honestly was one of the best gaming experiences of my life. That spark of why I liked making games came back in a small way thanks to From Software. The last few months have been peaceful, and sure enough, a brand new game idea came into my head that actually got me excited. Even now, I'm not fully recovered from this horrible burnout, but it's better than it was. Looking back, it's pretty obvious what happened. I had lost sight of why I made games in the first place. Instead of being a hobbyist, I was a solo business owner with countless burdens, constantly worried about the future. The question I asked myself is, what did I do wrong? Was the answer to completely follow my passion and forget about money? No, of course not. Was the answer to only focus on money? Well, not that either. Maybe the truth was somewhere in the middle. So that brings me to the present. I've been working on my new game for almost 2 years now in secret. We're almost out of money because I've basically spent it all on our house repairs and this new risky game idea. I've talked to multiple publishers and they've passed on the idea. I've already been rejected a lot, which is really disheartening. But in my heart of hearts, I truly 100% believe in this game idea, and I'm putting in my absolute best effort to make it work. I know deep down it can be successful, but there's still a nagging feeling that I will fail, which is okay when you consider how much pain my proverbial dream job has caused me. I've learned a ton though, and I'm hoping now to finish this new game with more wisdom and kindness towards myself. The good news is that after all the rejections and hardships, one of my pleas to the void was answered by none other than Jeff Keighley himself. He's invited me to show my new game to the world for the first time at Gamescom. It's kind of unbelievable, and I'm still shocked it's happening. And a part of me thinks all my troubles might be over, but experience has taught me that's not the case. I still worry that the game idea might not work. It really hurt last week when I let some close friends play the demo for the first time, and they gave me brutal feedback on it. Some people loved it, it's true, but some people really did not like it at all. But that's the risk I'm taking. It's the risk we all take to bring a creative idea to life and share it with the world. And honestly, it might be one of my last big risks I take. So here's the bombshell announcement I talked about earlier. I swear I will leave the industry forever if this new game fails financially. I really just can't do this anymore at this level of commitment, and it's starting to take a toll and it's starting to affect my happiness. But if the game does do well and I can keep making indie games, I have a new plan, which experience and wisdom have taught me. I need to make smaller games with savings in the bank to alleviate risk and anxiety. I've discovered that if I can make small, inexpensive games and keep it around to 1 year of dev time, it can be the perfect combination for my mental well-being and hopefully my business. So honestly, it's like a win-win situation for me. If the game fails, I can let go and live my life more peacefully with a new day job in another industry. But if the game succeeds, I can make games on my own timetable and find the joy of creating again. I kind of like both options, to be honest. But just know I'm putting absolutely everything I have into this new game, and I will do everything in my power to help it succeed. Even after all the rejections, I believe in this game idea enough to risk it all. And isn't that what an artist does? I'm trying my best to be brave and make something worth sharing, and I hope you stick around to see how it goes. Until then, wish me luck in Germany, and I'll be back to share more. Thanks guys for caring, I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.